Hey guys, this is Kenny. We're going to do some flying in Microsoft Flight Sim. We're going to be messing around with the new Ornithopter that's in here. I've got about 15 minutes or so experience flying it, so I'm still learning. Landing is especially kind of hard in this. I'm working on figuring out the throttle control to get it to land without smashing into the ground. Um, I spent a good hour to hour and a half just mapping out all the buttons in my WinWing Orion 2 setup. So I have the stick and throttle set up. So I think I have 12 or 13 buttons mapped out now. So I can basically control all the main systems. I wanted to make it kind of as realistic as possible. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started up. We're going to start out by turning the battery systems on and extending the wings. We'll fly it from the outside for a little bit just so you guys can kind of see everything. And then we're going to go ahead and get it started up. So I have an auto start going now. It should start up here any second. So this thing is pretty fun. I've only messed with it for a short bit, but this thing is definitely a lot of fun. Mapping out the buttons took quite a while, so I learned a little bit while I was mapping everything out, trying to figure out what I wanted where and how I wanted everything to work, and also learning how to fly it in general. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to go ahead and take off. We'll get up a little bit and I'll get the landing gear up. I did notice that this thing needs to be pretty close to full throttle. Like that's probably like 80% throttle right there. So you go to 100% and then it takes off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the landing gear up. We're taking off from a small airport in Japan. So now we're in like the full helicopter type mode. This thing is a blast. I think I might do another video after this kind of showing you guys how I have everything mapped out on my throttle control, because that's where all the buttons are mapped out. I do have some trim buttons on the stick, but most everything is happening on the throttle. So I'll show you guys. We got the wing mode and then the thrusters, which I have both on a switch, so I don't have to hold any buttons down or anything like that, which makes it way easier. So I'm going to turn this on, turn this off, and go from glide mode out of glide mode, back in, and then our dive mode, which is badass. And then dive mode off, and then it goes automatically into the helicopter mode. We can go back into wing mode, switch on our thrusters, and just fly it like an airplane. It does really good. The only thing I can say is it it doesn't fly exactly like an airplane, because like when you fly it upside down, it definitely doesn't have as much control as some airplanes do, but I think it does pretty good. Like we're doing an inverted flip here, kind of like you would do in an airplane. It actually does pretty good. It's not super fast to react, but it does pretty good. Flip that off and just do some gliding. So rudder control is actually pretty decent too. Not super responsive in glide mode, but if we turn that off, we can actually turn a little bit faster. Get a little bit more control side to side, especially for landing, which is something I really need to work on. I definitely like flying this thing in glide mode though, because it's just like flying kind of like a jet, like a slow jet. Well, I'm gonna mess around a little bit, get this thing high up in the air, and put it into dive mode. So we can actually fly it a little ways in dive mode. You can pull the stick back. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it tries. There we go. Put the wings back out. So when you're in dive mode, you can also go directly into glide mode like we just were, and I think it gets the wings out faster. So that's glide mode. That's switching out. I guess it's just as fast. So if you're in dive mode and you don't want to go directly to the helicopter mode, you can go right into glide mode, which is cool. The great thing about having the WinWing POTUS is being able to have all these switches to be able to dial things in and kind of have them do what you want. The biggest thing for me was having the thruster on a switch that I didn't have to hold, because I had it set up like that in the beginning for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I was like, man, this is really annoying having to hold a button down. I really wanted to focus more on actually flying. So I put it on a switch that I could just turn on and keep it on. That way it makes it so much easier. Let's fly a little bit from the inside. Go ahead and turn our thrusters on. Flying just like a real airplane. It's actually pretty awesome. It's fairly responsive. The roll rate's pretty decent. Flies upside down really well. Go into dive mode. Go down real quick. Throw the wings out so we gain a little bit of speed. Yeah, this thing is a blast. So I'll show you guys some landing here in a second, and it probably won't be as much landing as it is crashing, but that's one thing I found that's way harder. So we'll put it back kind of in helicopter mode, which I'm still trying to learn, is the throttle control and making it come down slow, because, and it's something that I'm going to have to tune, because this thing doesn't actually achieve any lift until like 80 to 90% throttle, and so it starts dropping anything less than that. So I think you have to really feather the throttle around just under that lift range to where it drops down slow enough to where it doesn't crash into the ground. So we're going to head back to this little airfield over here and try to do some landing. So we'll go ahead and turn our thrusters off. So this is another thing. Of course, I've got very little experience, so I'm kind of learning. If this is the first time you're watching, I don't know if you're going to learn anything from this or not, but slowing it down, it feels less like a helicopter as far as like how it slows down, and more like a plane, because it just really has a lot of forward momentum. So I'm going to try to slow it down, kind of like when you have a plane where you try to pull back a little bit, and same with some helicopters too. You pull back a little bit, and it'll start to slow down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my landing gear down. So we're already coming down right now. What I'm trying to do is, there we go. Now I'm going to throttle up a little bit. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm going to call that a successful landing. That was decent. Okay, so this is another cool thing. You can actually put it in glide mode and put your thrusters on. And we'll see if we might not be able to do it here. Okay, well that was kind of cheating, but let's go ahead and turn off put our landing gear up. Let's actually turn these off. We'll try to see if I can do this from a field. Let me see if I can land in a field and try to do that again. But you can actually take it off kind of like a plane. It kind of skips around a little bit, but it is possible, which is not what it's meant to do, but it's just fun that you can do it. So I'm going to see. Let's see if I can get this thing turned around. Give ourselves a little boost there. See if I can actually land this thing in the airfield using our landing gear as skis. Let's see if I can do a landing and take off. I think it's possible. It's the wings are really wide, so this probably not the best airport for this. So we're slowing down a little bit much. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hold that speed. This one thing is like this doesn't have flaps or anything, so it's less like an airplane, but I think it's still possible. Just give ourselves a little boost. Okay, let's see if I can set it down. See, the wings are a little wide. That's okay, we made it. Okay, not ideal. So we're gonna go ahead and pick it up. So this field's just not wide enough for us. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it back up in the air and bring it over here. I noticed there were some fields over here. Let's see, maybe we'll try this field over here. I'm gonna be trying my landing out again. It's definitely more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Okay, so we'll put it in glide mode, and let's see if we can get this thing off the ground. And so you still have a little bit of rudder control. I'm gonna try not to hit this house. Nope, didn't work. Oh, it actually helped us. Well, that was not ideal, but you can see it's totally possible, just for fun. These thrusters work really good. I mean, that was a pretty short distance. I'm sure if we didn't hit that house, we probably would have still taken off in a pretty short distance. But it just makes it more fun. It's pretty maneuverable. I think if you get a few hours into flying it, I think this thing could be a lot of fun. Go ahead and pull up the landing gear, causing a bunch of drag. I think this thing could be a lot of fun because you can take it basically anywhere. The only downfall I feel like is the wingspan, which is pretty wide. So your landing areas have to be a little bit bigger. See this little baseball field down here? Let's see if we can land there. Go ahead and put our landing gear down. Ugh, I suck. Okay, let's see if we can get over there. Definitely throttle control is just so important in this thing. I'm trying to go as slow as I can. Yeah, the difference in throttle is like 5%. Just doing a small little blip of the throttle. Oh, this is not good. That's not too bad. Just a little blip of the throttle towards the top end, like around 90 to 95%. It's a really short range, and you get a lot of lift or you get zero lift. I think I'm gonna call it here, guys. Let me know if you want to see more. Let me know if you guys want to see how I have everything set up. I'm gonna go ahead and shut everything down and turn the power off. Yeah, let me know if you guys want to see my setup and how I have the throttle set up on this thing with all my switches and all the controls for the Ornithopter. And I'll see you guys in the next one.